The summer of temptation ended in an icy, bitter jury, and many of us couldn't be happier. Plus, we have two former house guests, and we're going over the top on our final show. Welcome to the season finale of the Big Brother After Show.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Despacito, quiero desnudarte a besos despacito. Firma las paredes de tu laberinto.
I'm very upset I have not seen these lives until now.
Have you guys been holding, has AfterBuzz been holding out on us?
Yes! Why do we not have a dance party every time?
I feel like this is appropriate since Josh was the first Latino to win.
Yeah, there we go.
That's why I picked this.
That's why you picked this song.
Yeah,
okay,
we know that.
It all comes back.
Yeah.
Hey guys, welcome to the BB19 season finale of Big Brother. It's a very bittersweet moment.
It is.
I'm Bryce McLeay. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Bryce Advice, and I'm sitting beside for one last time my co-host.
Bryce,
Morgan.
you're gonna make me cry.
I mean, that's my goal.
Every time,
episode.
Bryce just wants to make me cry. But guys, I'm Morgan. You can follow me on Twitter at Morgan_Willett. We have so much to talk about.
Yeah, but I think you thought it was. I think you thought it was Family Day today. So.
Oh, it is Family Day. In case y'all didn't know, but I have my sister with me. Alex, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi guys, I'm Alex Willett. I was on Big Brother Over the Top with my secret sister Morgan.
Hey.
She won. I didn't. Plot twist. But yeah, you can find me on Twitter at AlexShay1 or Instagram at AlexShayWillett.
And of course, I am also Peter Brown from Big Brother Canada, former co-host of the Big Brother Canada Sideshow.
Yes.
And I'm very happy to be here to discuss Big Brother 19.
Well, we are so excited to have you guys here. Thank you for coming on our last show of the season.
You really have. You guys made this. You made
Yeah.
it. Well, you
You
two
saved the best for last.
Well, you did say the best, right?
We did. That's very
Yeah.
true. Well, first of all, I just want to say that you can never count out Big Brother. If we've seen any episode last night, you can never count it out. You think of it in a season of total predictability, they go out with a bang and throw a wrench. I think we have the video of the winner. Can you play that?
Oh, that's me.
Oh.
Hey!
Oh,
Reliving the glory days.
Hang on, I think that.
Congratulations, Morgan. You are the winner of BB.
I guess we might as well see this play out.
Is this the wrong video, guys?
No, I mean it is, but for now let's just see what happens.
How does it feel, Morgan? How does it feel
Guys.
to win?
You won.
I won.
What?
It was me. I won last night.
Oh my gosh. Wait, he didn't even let you go up for. You should. Oh, there you go. Oh no, you're both there. Okay.
Oh my God, we love each other.
Memories. We were
Wow.
just arguing in the car. This is
We
heartwarming.
were. We don't actually get along, guys.
Gosh, well that's fantastic. I mean, okay, so maybe let's show the real video, but that was really nice to watch. That was.
Everyone's like, why are we watching this? We're just setting you up for a better,
Yeah.
a more exciting win.
I don't think so.
Oh yeah, it was.
You won. Congratulations, Josh.
Oh, look at their faces.
I get excited all over again. Oh, Paul's face. He is
Why did
so
he wear the same
mad.
shirt?
I feel like he thought it was
Paul.
good luck or something.
This is Paul.
I don't know. I guess for me,
What is Paul doing? I didn't see this
I
part.
feel
don't
like
know.
he's like composing himself in the corner.
Yeah, like not wanting to cry or something.
I like how Raven's the first person to go and run up to.
Of course
Like,
she is.
nobody
Raven!
cares. Nobody cares. No, he doesn't.
He's like, why are you hugging me?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, okay, so Morgan, you were there last night.
Yes.
So how did you feel when that
It's-
happened?
Well, so I was watching in the admin room, so it was a bunch of alumni, people who work on the show, and honestly, whenever Josh decided to take Paul, everyone in the room kind of like threw their papers up and was like, well, what an idiot, like, this game's over, everyone went and got snacks, went to the bathroom, we're like, oh, okay, this is boring. And then when it was announced that he won, every single person in that room jumped on their feet and was screaming like it was like the national championship football game, but
New
it's
Year's
Big
Eve.
Brother. It was just insane because no one saw that coming, and for it to be Cody, that it came down to Cody, and I didn't see Cody, voting for Josh, so it was nuts. I don't know, you guys were
what did
watching
you guys
it with
think?
everyone.
I think it just goes to show that Big Brother's not over until the final vote is cast.
Yes.
So when someone makes a decision to bring another individual into the final two, it looks like it could be over. But until the jury portion of the game is complete, you never really know what's going to happen. And I think this season, above all others, just goes to show how important jury management is. I've been preaching it since I played.
Yeah.
I had a total tonal perspective change after I played when I went through the jury system. And I think this season, people are finally coming to the understanding that jury management is the single most important part.
Well,
of
and
Big
you
Brother
actually
game.
tweeted, you said a finalist doesn't lose because of a bitter jury, they lose because they failed to manage them properly. So why do you think jury management is so important?
The central objective of the game, the only thing that you're there to do is get to the final two. It's by hook or by crook. It doesn't really matter how you get there. The objective is to convince the maximum amount of jurors required to earn the votes to win to give them to you. And so anything else doesn't matter. You have to be in the final two in order to like pitch your case to the jury. And so if you're unable to do that, then you don't deserve the win. A lot of people are saying Paul deserved it because he played better. Well, better is subjective, and there is no deserves in Big Brother. You earn the votes or you do not earn the votes, and it's as simple as that.
Well, what do you think Paul could have done differently to manage it?
It's
Anything?
Goodbye
Anything?
messages.
Absolutely.
He could have learned from his first season and not repeated the exact same mistakes. In my
No,
opinion,
that's true.
on season 18 he did the same thing with his goodbye messages. I think he lied to Devon or something. So you would just think if he had gone back and watched his season and seen his flaws, he could have learned from it and moved forward. I think that was his biggest mistake.
Interesting. Well, what did you think of though? Were you excited? I know that you seemed
She
very
was Team
excited.
Josh from
Okay.
like week one.
Guys, I flared Josh on Reddit. I have picked him to win since the second I saw him. The second I
The
knew.
second you saw him?
Literally, preseason interviews, I was like, this is my pick to win. So
and
needless
I was
to say.
like, Alex, you're nuts.
Oh yeah, no, I've gotten a lot of flack from it this season, but I'm very happy.
You should have
to
made
say
bets on it.
Yeah,
would've-
you
I
should've.
did.
won
I
big.
did. I made a bet. I have an alumni who owes me dinner because I won this bet. So.
Balling out on
good.
that bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd go to like Fogo de Chao or something.
Yeah, I
like,
know.
somewhere
I need to
really
pick a
expensive.
nice, expensive
yeah.
restaurant.
Yeah, exactly. But do you think that this was the only possible outcome in this? I mean, or
You know, I honestly, I didn't think, like, I had wanted Josh to win. He had been my winner pick, but I did not think it was going to happen. I was completely stunned. I thought for sure Paul had it in the bag. So
I think everyone thought that.
expect the
But why though?
unexpected.
I mean, like, why would
that's my question.
Yeah.
Why would you think that Paul has it in the bag
I
when you
think-
can see every single week? Sure, like he's the one who's pulling the most strings. He's manipulating the group the most. But as the group is leaving and dwindling down, they don't have positive feelings towards him. And the game is
Right.
about how you leave people feeling.
But I think everyone forgets that it's other people voting. I feel like everyone else saw Paul the whole time, was like, oh, he did this, this, and this, but then you forget we're not voting. Like, we're just sitting at home, and he upset all those people. So I think people just forgot and I think I was talking to Elena yesterday, and she just said, you know, he did this, this, and this, but he got so close to all these people and then stabbed in the back. And that's the last thing they walked out with.
Yeah.
So, I mean, especially for her, I think she was one who really couldn't forgive him.
yeah.
Well, let's talk about that because you were in the backyard last night.
Yes.
I was sorry I couldn't make it. I was
I know you had bigger
incapacitated.
plans.
No. But what was the vibe back there? I mean, do you think were they still? I mean, for the jury members that you spoke to, were they still bitter, or did you kind of feel like there was a sense of closure?
I think there was closure. I think, especially, I think everyone. I just got a feeling that most wanted Josh. I feel like they just had really hard feelings towards Paul. But I think everyone was in pretty high spirits. Paul was not. But
What was he like?
Understandably, I think he was just worn out. He just looked beat down,
Yeah.
which, I mean, coming second
Yeah,
2
don't
times
blame
in a
him.
row, especially when he did do a lot this season, you have to give him credit for that. I think he was just in shock. I think he doesn't realize kind of what went on in the house this season.
Mm-hmm.
I told him to stay off social media for a while. But we'll see. We'll see.
Well, go ahead.
I was going to say that I think the biggest credit to Paul is that he went 191 days in the Big Brother house without being evicted.
A long time.
But can we talk about the twist at the beginning? Like, I'm sorry, he probably would have been evicted. That's why I cannot give him this credit of being like right up there with Dan and Derek and Will, because he probably would have been on the block and probably would have been evicted within the first 3 weeks.
However, the game is inherently based upon twists and social manipulation, and so you can't.
But did he need 4 weeks?
Look, it's happened before, and it's happened in the past to other alumni. I mean, like, you can, be angry with the structure of the game, but that's how it happened to play out this year. Big Brother is always kind of the same, but it's malleable. It slightly shifts and adjusts every year. And though it's frustrating and annoying to watch as a fan when you see kind of the same types of things happening over and over and over again, you also have to tip your hat to the guy who made the most of his situation, because a lesser player may not have been able to make the most of that situation and may not have been able to control the game as he did, and would have went out after his safety had expired. We saw that happen with Big Brother Canada 5 earlier this year with Netta, who had a similar power for 4 weeks, and then immediately when it was over, she went away.
Someone compared Paul to her last week, wasn't it?
Right.
They said
Yeah,
that
I
they were
think
the same.
someone in our chat room.
And it's a fair comparison, and what I often say is, the game is so structured around power that when you are given power, this huge amount of control within your own fate within the game, and then that goes to your head immediately. But it also puts you in a position structurally within the game to be able to really do what you want fearlessly. And there's so much fear, there's so much isolation, there's so much uncertainty within the house, that if you can play from it with the perspective of, hey, I kind of do what I want right now. I can ingratiate myself to these people. I can make myself, necessary to their games. In a month, that is huge and cannot be understated, which she's correct about, but he also made the most of the advantage as well.
Yeah. Well, what do you guys? Okay, so Paul's come out and he said that he has honestly. He said it last night. He said, "I honestly don't know what I did, what could have gone wrong." So where he went wrong? Where do you guys think he went wrong? Is it still lie with the jury, or is it?
Absolutely. I think the clearest thing that he did wrong is you have to own your game, and so the best opportunity to do that is in the goodbye messages. It's when when you know that someone is leaving, you have to leave them with the impression that you want them to be left with, because ultimately they're the one who's going to be making the decision. You can't vote for yourself, or you can, but you have to make sure the way that you vote for yourself is that you make the other person want to do it as they're leaving. And if you in a game of deception, honesty is the thing that is really going to come through in the end. And he didn't do that. Like I said, didn't learn from his lesson last year.
And he didn't do it twice, by the way. I watched last season's finale just when they were doing the question stuff, and he still didn't own it.
Still
he didn't own
didn't
it
do it.
at
It
all.
makes no sense to
With
me.
Paul, I think the thing he's not aware of is it's not what you tell people, it's not saying the right things, it's how you make them feel. And time again, he's proven that he does not leave a lasting impact, a positive feeling when people leave the house. And so that's literally why he's lost twice.
He Russell Hansed himself.
Yeah.
I mean, Russell did the exact same thing in Survivor. He played the same way twice, and he's really good at getting to the end, but getting to the end that's not enough. You have to get votes, and he's come up short by 1 vote each time, which is
that's really really sad.
That's I almost would rather him gotten no votes and gotten second,
Yeah.
but to come
Yeah.
1 vote twice,
Again.
poor guy.
Well, he also the one thing that I thought was weird is he said, I never, during one of the questions, he's I said, I never promised anyone I'd throw my game away for them. What is that? I mean, how is that a defense? He said that, and I'm that nobody expects that. I don't know how that would be. I don't know if you guys thought
I don't
of that.
think he
That was
answered
weird,
those
but-
questions as well as
he
I
didn't.
thought he was going to. I think he got flustered because I think he kind of felt
got
he was
defensive.
on a pedestal all season, and then to realize, I didn't do as well as I thought I did. I don't think he answered it. I actually thought Josh answered him a lot better than I was
Yes.
expecting.
And
Shout
Josh,
out
I think the point that we've all kind of made is the fact that it is about owning your game
Yes.
and respect, and
Well, and
that's
why
where you
Josh
get
won.
respect. Yeah, and because he owned it, and he did, and with the goodbye messages and everything, it just makes sense. So I don't know how, but like you said, I don't know if Paul didn't learn from his mistakes, but I wonder what his former house guests who were in the audience, his former housemates were thinking.
Yeah, I'm I wonder if Victor was shocked.
Yeah, I talked to Michelle last night a little bit, Big Meech, and she just was telling me she basically feels terrible for Paul. So I know she's very sympathetic.
I'm
towards him.
sure.
Yeah, I just wonder. I don't know if they thought if they thought he had a shot or he should have won or whatever. You know?
Yeah.
So there is no should have won.
Yeah,
there is no
yeah.
deserves.
Yeah.
Brother.
There isn't.
I take
You're right.
umbrage with that because a lot of people will say that every year. There's a right way to play. There's voting for the right person. There's no right or wrong in Big Brother. And the difference is as a fan, when you're watching it, you have an objective view of the entire palette of what's happened through the entire season. You know all the minutiae of everything that's happened, and you can make an informed opinion. The difference with being a house guest is you're not informed at all. You have no idea what's going on most of the time. So at the very end of it, you have to go with what your gut tells you. And, the internet can be very critical sometimes and say, oh, well, they should just respect the game and, it's just a game and they should do what's right. That's really easy to say on your couch and on your laptop, but when you're in that environment and you've just gone through the most psychological, the terrorizing experience of your life, and then at the end you have to award it to someone, you're going to do it to the person that you feel is the best representative of your season.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people, like you said, it's just a game. I mean, I wonder, we saw a very, very bitter jury.
No, there is no such thing as a bitter jury.
Oh, they were bitter.
No, there's no such thing as a bitter jury.
They were bitter.
I'm with them. That was a
bitter jury.
So maybe they were bitter, but Alex, a lot of people were saying that Alex was very, very petty.
Her hat should have said bitter instead of petty.
But I'm wondering, why do you think they weren't able to, and maybe it is what you just said, but why were they able to not separate emotion from gameplay?
Because there is no separation. The game is emotion.
Well, maybe it's because there's such a lack of gameplay.
I feel like I'm getting a psych test right now. I'm like, oh my God, it all makes sense.
It's not checkers. It's not, Super Mario. The game is people, and people are emotional. They're irrational. They're illogical. They've just gone through this this experiment, this social experiment that we often forget. The central thesis of what Big Brother is taking ordinary people, put them in an extraordinary environment, and having them play this incredible game. And at the end of it, the fandom expects them to be able to totally separate all of the emotional hardships that they just went through for over 90 days in some cases, 3 months of total isolation, and go, you know what? That person really screwed me over. I hate everything about them. But here, I'm going to give you a bunch of money. And you forget about that because as a fan, you go oh man, I really want to see this character that I've invested in for so long be rewarded. Right. And when they don't get that reward, then the fandom rejects that. And they say, oh, it's a bitter jury. It's, they got screwed over, the wrong person won. The right person, the best player, is the person who convinces the jury to give them the votes, to give them the money.
But see, I'm torn. Did Josh convince the jury, or were they?
I saw on Twitter that Cody, Mark, Elena, and Jason and Alex made a pact to not vote for Paul no matter what. So I feel like that's a bitter jury.
No, that's continuing.
Was there any
to play
reasoning
the game.
behind that?
I haven't investigated further.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I know. I wish there were cameras in the jury house. I wish they would show us a little bit more of their thought process. So I'm curious.
As someone who experienced the jury, the game continues to be played. That's another thing that people kind of forget. They just assume that once you're gone, once you're out of the house, once you're into the jury house, it's done. And that's not true at all. The game just kind of splinters and becomes this side game. And if a lot of people in the jury feel a certain way and they're like, you know what, we really don't want this individual to win. We don't want them to be the representative of our season unless they do X, Y, and Z. Had he owned his game, had he made amends to all of them, had he made them feel differently, then perhaps in all likelihood they wouldn't have felt that way. And maybe that's what they needed to hear at the very end. So many people think that the game is basically done once the questions start, but that's not true. Those questions are incredibly important, and you have to listen to them and you have to respond to them correctly.
They were a lot more specific than generic in past years.
Yes.
They were very specific.
Very specific.
Last year, I watched last year's just today, and it was like, why do you think you should win?
Yeah.
The person beside you.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, great softball question. Thank you. We're going to get a lot of information. Okay, so with all of that, do you think that the jury then wanted Josh to win, to see Josh win, or to see Paul lose more?
I think see Paul lose.
It wasn't about crowning Josh as the winner. What's wrong with these?
Well, I think Jason said it best. He said, "I'm voting for the lesser of two evils," or someone said something like that. So
I don't think they were a
inclined to
fan
think-
of either, but I think they were more upset with Paul. I mean, I'd hate to say it, even in Josh's, final plea, it didn't sway me that much. I mean, you have to admit, Paul's was pretty foolproof, so that makes me think that they were more so against just Paul.
Yeah.
Could be wrong.
I don't know. I think you're right. I think that being Paul, they didn't want Paul to win. Mm-hmm. But I'm still surprised by Cody. Like you said, I'm very surprised by his vote because I really wouldn't. That is like him picking the lesser of two evils.
But even when I interviewed Cody, he said it quite simply. He was like, I would never vote for Paul because he didn't own his game. Flat
Really?
out
There
said,
it is.
Really?
I would not vote for him. He's a coward.
Okay,
and
well,
I'm pretty
can
sure
you
he called him a beta.
Tell us some more stuff from last night.
I don't want everyone
Okay, yeah, you don't have
watch
to, okay,
the
you don't.
interviews.
All right, okay, we're not going to spoil
Which,
your
guys, they're
interviews.
uploading, I swear, just YouTube hates me, but they're uploading. Oh, but I will say that Raven, I asked her what rough kneecap syndrome was, and
good.
it is something, and she gave me a medical explanation, so stay tuned for
Well,
that.
I also with her, I just read something online that because they asked if Raven hashtag Raven Exposed Party, if she had said that or if she had figured that out yet. She said that her mom was in Mensa, but then she said that she wasn't able to graduate, but she could be in Mensa tomorrow.
Right, that's what she said. She said,
Then you can't. Then you're not in Mensa. You can't be in Mensa if you could be in Mensa tomorrow.
I will say,
I'm sorry.
when I asked her about that, she did own up to it. She said she misspoke. She said, I misspoke. My mom's not in Mensa, but she's so intelligent that she could be tomorrow if she wanted to be. So I don't know if you can apply.
But still, you
to
can't
be
tell
Is
entertainment
there an
somebody
application?
that.
Can I apply to be in Mensa? I'm smart.
I mean, just don't tell the Hollywood Reporter that your mom is in Mensa when she's really not, or,
Right.
or whatever. I'm just
Exactly.
kidding. It doesn't really matter. I just don't ever want to see Raven or Matt ever again.
I think everyone
You
feels
have
that
to worry
way.
about that.
Oh, you
Bring
don't
them
know?
back for All Stars.
No, they're gonna go. They're gonna be on The Amazing Race.
Oh, good.
Don't worry about
Could
it.
you imagine that?
It'd actually
I-
probably be pretty funny to see her on The Amazing Race. Like she.
That would be great TV.
Yeah,
I just
not
don't know if
him,
I could
though.
like listen to it.
not him, but just for comic relief, like. I know it's fun to hate on Raven, but this season would have been even more boring if she
Right,
went
this
on
is
the
true.
list, You know,
She made for great TV. You gotta give the girl that.
Yeah, I mean, she's got to get credit for something, I guess.
she'll be remembered if anything.
So who did you really want to talk to last night? What was your what was
I
your goal?
really wanted to talk to Cody because I mean he just got America's Favorite Player. Of course, it was complete blank face.
Yeah.
So just to get his reaction as to, did you realize America loved you? He said no. But he's just, and it's
Shocking.
funny because he gave me more than I thought he was going to. I was just like, I really want to interview this kid because is he going to talk to us? He did. He said he's thinking about using the $25,000 on an engagement ring. But he said that, I think that was more of a joke, but I was
Yeah.
like, Jessica, working her magic. But you've got to give Jess credit. She really campaiged for him to win. Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
I think
he won Big Brother.
right.
He got her. He got
her.
$25,000.
And is one of the few that's liked by America.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And he actually kind of played the game before he got evicted.
Sure.
Good job, Cody.
Yeah, great
you
job,
win,
Cody.
BB19.
Sorry for all the terrible things we said about you.
Oh yeah, don't watch this podcast.
Don't want to know. Okay, but Peter, you were tweeting about Cody.
Sure.
After he won. And I wanted to know if you were always rooting for him or not.
Absolutely. I thought
Really?
he was such an intriguing character. I mean, how often in Big Brother do you get someone like Cody? So to
Right.
me, that was just so refreshing to see. That was exciting that he was against the grain and he was this stoic robot that once you started to see him a little bit more, you realize that he's more like us than people want to really admit. And he's more compelling than a lot of the characters in the show this year. So Cody slowly over time became like the poster child for all that was really right about this season. And so I really responded to him. And I recall him talking to Jessica and he was saying like, he doesn't really have a lot of friends. He doesn't really talk to his family. He kind of feels alone. And I think the thing that's really going to change for him after this is now he's coming into this Big Brother community, which is a very bizarre community, but it's
Very dysfunctional.
It's very dysfunctional, but it's also very tight knit, and like everyone belongs. Like whether you're a part of all of the action or not, you were, in my opinion anyway, you were always welcome because you're a Big Brother family, and that's something that I'm going to communicate to him. Like you always have a friend because you've gone through this experience, and so I love Cody. I thought he was fantastic for the season. I thought he played as well as he possibly could given all the circumstances. I think he was royally screwed over in his first week with the HOH by putting up a third of the house.
Yeah.
And but yeah, he became this like breath of fresh air through a season of like monotony.
There needs to be a Big Brother in Paradise. I really
Oh my
believe that.
gosh!
Like there has to be. Of all
Like
the
Matt
things
and
that-
Raven,
everything
Jessica,
that
Cody.
I've heard. No,
Yeah.
not even that. Like in the Paradise thing, but there needs to be like
Oh,
a
like,
bunch
just
of
with
people.
everyone,
Yeah,
yes.
just like a bunch of people.
And wait, what have you heard?
It would be good TV.
Oh, believe me, I can't divulge my secrets. Alex, do you think that Jess and Cody are the real deal?
I think that out of everyone in the house, they stand a better shot. I know that it was announced they're going on The Amazing Race. So I
Is that true?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think
Wow.
Brian.
Yeah,
Good for them.
yeah.
Brian tweeted that.
I've heard
Brian
from a
Rico.
couple different sources. Yeah, Brian tweeted it.
He's been on our show. Hey,
So I'm assuming
what's
if he
Yeah.
tweeted it, it's probably
We
accurate. So
told him that.
I feel like that will be an interesting test of their relationship.
Yes.
We'll
I
have to
agree.
see. We'll see.
That'll be definitely very interesting to watch. Well,
Yeah.
I will be curious, will Cody be his stoic self, you know, not being enclosed with people he hates? Or will we see emotion from him? Probably not. It's wishful thinking, but...
But you did get emotion from him throughout the season.
We
though.
did.
Like,
Little
With-
glimpse.
with
Little
Jeff.
Right.
glimpse. But
and it's also the edit too, because like in the beginning of the season, like the diary room camera will linger on him just like kind of sitting there, which you know if you've been in a diary room, sometimes you just sit there and stare at the wall until they talk to you. And so the edit kind of reflected his roboticness. And then once he came back, essentially you saw a lot more flavor in Cody in the diary room. So I think he's probably like, look, and you have to be in the house, and people for the most part seem to get along with him, especially in jury. Mark and Elena really get along with him. So I think he's probably a more social person than we're giving
agree.
him credit for. The Amazing Race will be a huge test for them, but also I think it's most interesting in that a lot of romances can form in the house, and they often do because it's an isolated environment. You're around a bunch of young, attractive people.
It becomes your world.
Exactly.
Right.
Really, it does. And so, when an attraction forms in the house, it kind of like operates under house logic. When you get that into the real world, it doesn't always translate. So while I wish all of them the very best in their romantic endeavors, it'll be very interesting to see how the next few months, the next summer, once the kind of euphoria that they're going to experience, which is incredible for them, once that dissipates and they're back to kind of just their regular lives or whatever that is for them, then we'll see what happens, because most of the relationships don't ultimately work out in the way that they perhaps expect on finale night.
So you're saying Matt and Raven probably aren't going to get married?
Well, if they do, I would like an invitation to it.
Oh, don't we all?
I think
Yeah.
that's...
Cereal for everyone at that wedding.
What do you guys think about showmances in general? I mean, are you for them, against them? I mean, I know it's your
I've been voiced this from the get-go.
I targeted a showman's the second I had HOH, so that should say everything about how I feel.
Which is smart, functionally within the game, because here's what a showmance really is. It's an alliance of two people who have romantic chemistry. So if it's this no different than a bromance or whatever the female equivalent would be, which I don't think has a name.
Girlmance.
Is
Girlmance.
Girlmance.
Sure, we'll go
I
with
just made that up.
Yes. But anyway, that's what it is.
I'm not going to say what I was
So
Probably
I
not
mean, it's
appropriate.
smart. It's both smart to target the showmances, which is something that Alex was very vocal about in this season, like right from the get-go. You recall in week 1 when Cody asked her, kind of like he tried to pull her into this side, and she was like, you know what? I think I'm going to go for the showmances if I get power next week, and that was her objective, and she essentially succeeded in that objective. But it's all like she was also basically in a showmance with Jason, just without the romantic element. It's the same thing. Like there's no difference between Mark and Elena and Jason and Alex except for the sexual,
Right.
undertone.
Right.
And so that's why it's functional within the game, because it's so hard to trust someone. And if you have one person that you can trust unconditionally, whether it's romantic or otherwise, that's a huge value. Well, you have a sibling.
Sometimes you get a sister.
Yeah, that's probably the best thing.
Yeah,
you can
exactly.
Even though quite a few times Alex said she would vote me out.
Wow.
I
Like, do you, like as a
did.
strategy, or
Yes, as a strategy.
One, we fight all the time, and it was hard to not
so
fight with her.
rude.
And I just felt like my life would be easier if you were gone. So.
Well, guess
And I
what?
wanted to win.
You wouldn't have gotten that far without me.
Wow.
Well,
Okay, you guys-
only because we were working together.
save
So
it
like
for
we
the end of
wouldn't
the
have
show. We want
that.
people to tune in. We want to wait till you're very.
We'll save the arguing for
Yes,
later.
no, we want it. We just really hold on to it. Hold on to it really closely. Well, I know that you kind of have become a little friendly with Jess. I don't know if she had said
yeah.
anything to you about maybe what they're like.
She is very, very content with him. Everything that she said is that they will continue dating. It doesn't matter if he's in Dallas and she's in LA. I think the Amazing Race they're very excited about that. The whole entire backyard, they did not leave each other's side. So, I mean, that just might be a testament to they haven't seen each other in a long time. But I don't know. Maybe it's just like the hopeless romantic inside of me. Wait, I don't like guys. But, right? Why am I saying that? I don't date people. But like,
You
I
like
really,
Nicholas Sparks movies. So
right?
maybe
Like
it's that.
you just like want to root for them because like they went through so much this season, and I just think they're cute.
Oh,
Team
that's
Jody.
good.
Wow, that just got really emotional. Ew.
I do want to talk about the relationship between Christmas and Josh, because I find it very, very interesting, and I almost felt when she when I was watching it and she was on stage, I was like, this is really endearing and nice when she was like, he's finally thinking for himself, and it's just an interesting relationship. And I don't know if you guys think that it's because of strategy or that maybe they just linked up because they were.
You know, I think the thing is, Christmas had never really seen any previous seasons before going on the show. So she went in the show with this feeling of like, I gotta find a team. And then when she found her team, she solidified that and they became like a family to her. So I kind of almost saw her as a mother figure to Josh throughout the entire season. So I guess she just kind of had that kind of bond with him, which is unusual for Big Brother. We don't really see that often.
Yeah.
But that's right, because even she would scold him almost like a kid.
Yeah.
She would like sit him down in a corner and be like, don't talk to me. Like, it was bizarre to me seeing that. I was like, you're not his mom. Like, this is an alliance, not a family. I don't know. It's, to me, with Christmas, you're right. I don't think she watched enough before. I don't think she understood that it's not a team game, that you kind of do need to play for yourself. But, I mean, maybe, I don't know. Maybe she wasn't there to win the $500,000. I don't know.
However, in this season, the team, aka the unnamed large alliance, ran
Never got a name.
Which I think it's like a lot of people were frustrated with the season because it always felt like the same things were happening over and over. And the reason why that was happening is because the majority of the house always had one or two targets that they could clearly go after as a group. And so you even could hear the rumblings of this appeared as early as Dominique's eviction. She always talked about the team. And so that team essentially formed in week 1 with all the Showmances plus Dominique, and then in week 2 that whole thing shifted to Paul without Cody and Jess. And then that alliance basically continued on the entirety of the season, and they pulled in Josh and Christmas. And so you basically had Paul with a bunch of pairs, which operated as a total whole, almost like the Borg, and then they kept going after the outliers of the house. And then so people were frustrated because it's like, well, why aren't they turning on Paul? I think this was such a frustration from the fan base, is they kept waiting every week for someone to turn on Paul. But if the person in the house who has the most experience within the game is giving you accurate and correct and worthwhile information all the time, and it's leading you to progress in the game to get to the jury stage in which you can vie then for the title, then why would you ever turn against that?
Right.
And when you're in the majority and there's a bunch of single outliers that can be, it's them and not me, okay, fine, I'm going to stick with my group. The problem with that strategy for future players is that at some point you have to realize who's pulling the strings, and you have to go against that person once the numbers dwindle down. This is frustrating to watch from an audience perspective, but functionally within the game, it actually works really well. And it's happened a lot with these huge alliances. It was similar to Big Brother 16, in which Derek basically did the same thing. And so I liked this season, and I may be the only one, simply because we haven't seen this style of Big Brother before, where we basically had one shepherd, a bunch of sheep, and then a bunch of wolves that were trying to get in but couldn't. And so for me, as someone who wants a different type of attraction every year from the Big Brother experience, a different type of way that the game can unfold, I responded to it because I was like, look, if I was in there, I would want to get as far as possible. And if the people around me can help get me there, why am I going to turn against that? It doesn't make sense. I know the Boston Rob school of thought is turn on your allies before your allies can turn on you. But the difference is that usually happens when there's 2, 3, or 4 people left, not when there's 11 people left.
Yeah.
And so that's also an indictment of, the game is 90 plus days now. The game used to be 70, 80 odd days. And so now you're seeing a lot more weeks, a lot more time for people to wait around, be patient. And so that, people have to realize that the game is evolving, and it's not going to be this quick 10-week, run and gun, strategically dynamic game that you're going to see all these blindsides and wild frivolous gameplay, because it doesn't make sense anymore, because the first half of the game is basically just relax, wait, let everybody else screw up around you, and then start to play in jury.
Right. You should write a book on Big Brother.
Yeah, really.
But honestly,
You're an encyclopedia of knowledge about.
Do you think that Paul had the best shot of going with Christmas and Josh, or did that come by happenstance? I don't think I can't imagine him going with Jason and Alex,
right?
By any means, but
Sorry, are you asking?
I guess
did
I'm
Paul make the right choice between the two?
I guess I'm asking, did he make the right decision? And was the decision? I guess the decision was kind of made for him, really, more than he made it.
Correct. I think that ultimately, though, even if that decision was faced in front of or put in front of him, he probably still would have picked Christmas and Josh, simply because you remember again. All of it is in the first week. You know, when Josh doesn't receive a friendship bracelet, he comes in, he's like, okay, I know what you're doing. Okay, we're really in sync here. So he knows he has Josh. Christmas is obviously in love with him. Alex and Jason were in business for themselves, and they would have went into business for themselves. Yes. And, you know, they were a tighter pair, whereas Paul, Christmas, and Josh were a tighter three.
But what about Matt and Raven? I mean, if he was sitting next to Matt, he was sitting next to Matt, he would have won.
And if he was sitting next to Raven, he would have won.
Well, I mean, she has a disease.
Yeah.
So.
That's true.
But seriously, she would use that to her advantage.
They thought she was loved by America, so I'm sure coming into it,
but I think towards the end, everyone
that's a good point
started
too.
to get a little wary of her.
Well,
I think at the beginning they thought
did, but Paul didn't want another situation where he brought in Nicole and
True.
But now we're starting to unravel whether Paul's game was really good or wasn't it. Because you bring up an excellent point. If Paul was as great as he claims to be, or others have appropriated the title onto him, then why would he take these strong pairs to the end? Why would he take these pairs who are, have the ability to do something with the game? Matt and Raven can't do it. Matt's entire strategy was to do favors for people. I'll go on the block, I'll throw the comp, I'll do everything. That's a strategy that can work, but it's not going to work unless you win and then put it back on the people that have put it on you. And so he didn't do that. He didn't click in. Raven was completely useless when in the game for the entirety of it. So if Paul was really the great manipulator, then he would have manipulated the situation to bring Matt and Raven along instead of these other Alex and Jason were a great combo in the game. And even though Christmas ended up getting awarded power simply because she couldn't participate in competitions, which is insane, and Josh won many things as well. And so you could then make the argument that maybe he was just going along with what happened to unfold in front of him, and maybe he really wasn't manipulating as much as the diary room would have us believe.
Okay, but also him orchestrating them to throw a running competition for a girl with a broken foot is like Dan throwing his own funeral. I mean, that is one of the most insane things I've ever seen.
I agree. That was a benchmark moment for strategy, and it played off perfectly. I love that moment.
But is it Paul? Like, do we give the credit to Paul for doing that, or is it just like he's with mindless people? Like, is it the cast,
so you have to
Paul?
think. That is true.
Paul's the only one with
different
the mind.
Yeah.
It seems like that's what I would feel.
But
like
had he had stronger competitors, these people I sometimes question. Like, had it been a different cast, would
I
this
agree,
have played
but
out?
I think under the circumstances,
under the circumstances, yes.
But it's always circumstantial. I mean, the biggest thing that I learned through the Big Brother experience is you have to play to your cast. And so if you realize that the cast around you are a bunch of yes men, then have them be yes men.
Yeah, which he did.
Alex, who do you think would have won if Paul had never entered the house?
Oh my gosh, that's a hard one. We didn't get to see any big personalities come out because of Paul, so we don't know who would have been the alphas minus Cody. I like to think that Cody and Jess probably would have been the people leading the house, but I think they might have been, not as liked because of that. America loves the underdog. I like to think Josh still would have won, though. I'm Team Josh.
I think Mark, for some reason, would have gone way farther had Paul not been in the game.
Sure.
I mean, he was really good at competitions. He was likable. I mean, I guess he had his big blow-ups, but I think he would have gone far. I think Paul kind of screwed that one up.
It's funny that it did come down to Cody's vote too, and that Julie said that during the battle back or something. I don't know. I don't remember this, but I guess she said that during the battle back, Paul wanted to work with Cody. Like, imagine if that had happened. Like, imagine if they had worked together.
They would have steamrolled the hell.
Oh, for sure.
It would have been fun to watch, but it may have been the same result that we saw this time. Like, it might have they just were picking people off one by one, and then no one would go against them. So
I did ask Cody that. It was not a positive.
What did he say?
I was like,
do you not want to tell us?
Well, it's fine. It's a long interview. Honestly, it might not ever upload. It's such a big file, so I might as well tell you. But I asked him, I was like, had Jess not been in the house, do you think you and Paul would have teamed up as these two, big personality alpha males? And he said he would never team up with the beta. Paul is a beta and a victim, and he would never team up with him.
God,
So
it's amazing how much like you, I was rooting for Paul in the beginning. Like it was just, and I was despised, just could not stand
yeah,
him.
we were very anti-Cody for a while.
I liked Cody. I think
Yeah.
me and you liked Cody.
Yeah,
I think there's
I
like
know.
a couple, like 2 weeks, I was like, oh, like I don't know about this guy, because you're right, you didn't get a lot from him, so it's like, what, what's he thinking? We don't know.
I will say a lot of big people that we've had on our show that know a lot about Big Brother said that they liked Cody. Like Brian said that he liked Cody.
Yeah.
There are other people like Bill said
That
he
were
liked him.
early fan favorites
Yes,
of Cody.
that and this was early in the early days, and so I think that's very telling now.
But what that reveals is, and for anyone who's going to be playing next year in Big Brother USA 20 or Big Brother Canada 6, is being unique is very important, and that's ultimately what makes you stand out. You don't have to be the class clown, you don't have to be the babe, you don't have to be the jacked up guy, you don't even have to, you can just be yourself. And that's the beauty to me of Big Brother is taking an ordinary person and creating an extraordinary environment for them to excel in, because you live and die based on your mouth and your mind in there.
Yeah.
And that's all. Cody was just himself, and people reacted to it. Good or bad is better than indifferent. And like a lot of people this year, there was a feeling of indifference towards them. And so even if you're like, furiously having a negative reaction to someone, give me that over someone who eats cereal all the time.
Well, Paul wrote a very long Instagram today that I
I
didn't.
saw that. I didn't read it. It was too long.
Yeah, I'm not gonna read it. But basically, he says he was denouncing the more questionable actions, like
Bullying.
mocking Dominique with racism, demeaning Cody's military service, and bullying and stuff. Do you think that he is just misunderstood? Is that what we're taking away from this? Because this happened last year too. This is why, he was calling girls the C word last year, and there's just other things that and I know that you guys get caught up when you're in the house. It's not like it's almost like you can't control yourself, but I just didn't know if you guys felt like
Well, you guys watch more of the live feeds, so I don't know how. I don't watch all the. Was the edit different than how he was on live feeds?
Yeah, that's a better question.
No, I think it's pretty true to Paul. Paul is just a very dominant figure. He likes to have control, and they gave him a mastermind edit on the show, yes, but he was controlling every movement in the house.
But with like the bullying and that kind of stuff, like we didn't see that. But
giving Josh the
but on the
the
live feeds, did you see more of a nasty side? Because he didn't really get that edit, so it's like, are people being too harsh?
I would say, I don't think he meant anything with the whole dressing up as a snake
of course
thing.
not.
You know what I'm
No,
saying?
I don't think that was.
I don't think that, but
that was totally.
But like the
misunderstood.
military service, he blatantly said, "Let's try and get Cody to evict."
In charge of creating all of this. So that is true. Like on the live feeds, he was right up there in the action, not really saying it, but more, creating it from behind the scenes.
In my opinion, you have to look at it as two completely different things. So you have the television show, which is a packaged, presentation, a construct of, a narrative that is unfolding to, have an entertaining television show. And then you have the actual game that is being played by real people in the house. And so if you're doing something in the house, it's really easy to say, it was just for game. And I'm just doing that to incite someone and rile them up, and I'm just trying to push buttons or whatever. But you don't do those things unless you would do them in the real world. So I say, the reason why people write very long Instagram posts or make videos about it afterwards is they've been called on their stuff, and they have to own it, and they want to make excuses for it. And that can be really hard to do when you're confronted with the reality of who you are. Yeah. So many people get out of the Big Brother or Survivor experience and say, got a bad edit. No. You just self-reflect poorly. You don't know who you are.
Really edit you.
Right. You have to say and do all of those things. And the show can present them in a particular way, but
a good way to put it.
It's still out there. And so you learn who you are through these types of experiences. I think Paul should be responsible for all the things that he did. I think a lot of the things that he does were bad, but should you completely write him off for all those things, just like everybody else? No, absolutely not. Because he's
everybody,
human.
and it's not just Paul. Everybody in the house
Everyone made their mistakes.
Everybody had mistakes, and it was. But I completely agree with you. It just seems like when history repeats itself, it's just like, that may just be the true character of.
And I would agree.
The
thing that you have to take away from it is that no one's perfect, and you walk into this experience in which you're super exposed to not only the country but the world at large that's watching. And guess what? I got news for you guys. People are flawed, and humans make mistakes. They do bad things, and sometimes they regret them, and sometimes they don't. Does Paul regret part of what he did? Maybe, maybe not. That's up for him to decide. Publicly, I'm sure that he will. Privately, is he that person? That's
Maybe.
up for the public to decide.
Well, with all of you guys being former Big Brother players, who would you have voted for if you were on the jury in the end?
That's impossible to say because none of us played with those people.
Come on, just play. Just tell us.
No, you can't. Like, I mean, I maintain it's like unless you have a personal connection to the people in the end, you can't say because then you're just a
Okay,
fan.
so are you happy that Josh?
Absolutely, I'm very happy that Josh won.
Would you have been the same amount of happy if had Paul won?
I don't think so.
I'm really
no.
trying to get to that. I'm really trying to. Like,
Yeah, it's you gotta be real specific with me.
Yeah.
I'm incredibly happy that Josh won because I thought he was such a dynamic character this year. Like, yeah, he may have paid homage to the past with Evil Dick, but Evil Dick's his favorite character in the show. So yes, he's going to do the pots and pans thing. But you saw versatility with Josh. He was crying in the diary room. He was excited in the diary room. He was funny. He had a catchphrase. He understood the game. He's a fan of the game. He tried his best. Like, give me trying your best any day of the week over just being in there. Even if you're not great at it, try. And that's something that Josh did, and he veered away from Paul every once in a while, like mentally. Like, he always didn't act, but you know, those actions ended up leading him to the title. So he did ultimately do what was right for him and his game. And I thought he gave us versatility in the diary room. He was, you know, I think Josh was maybe one of the best characters we've seen in quite a long time. I was very happy that he won. Had Paul have won, I would have been like, congratulations, man. You did 2 full years without getting evicted. You played a remarkable game the second time around, really learned from your mistakes, and came out a champion. Congratulations. He didn't hit that mark, but now he's going to be known as the guy who finished second twice, and that's part of a legacy too.
By 1 vote.
Do you think that he should have won last year? I mean,
No.
Oh, I do.
Yeah, I think he should have won last year.
Absolutely not. They're like
because of circumstances.
because of
right?
circumstances.
Okay, so Alex, what about you? Who would you have voted for if you were on the jury?
This year, as you'll know, I wanted Josh to win, but I think if I'm being honest with myself, I would have voted Paul. Like,
Just
I
because of his-
can't deny he has played the most dominant game for a modern BB player. I mean, he's right up there, in my opinion. I don't want to say he's up there with Derek, but he's up there, like top 10.
Yeah,
But hold on, let's break that down. So if Paul would have sent you to the jury, and in his goodbye message he's lying to you and he's making you feel bad, and you know, you thought that you were really part of his alliance, and then you go out to the jury and everyone's saying, I was part of Paul's alliance too, and oh man, he pulled the wool over my eyes. Are you gonna go, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna go vote. I'm gonna vote for him. That's
toss-up
right.
between that.
I don't think I would be a bitter juror. I really
See, I
don't.
know I would be. Like,
I'm
I
very
play-
logical. I respect
Like-
the game, and I just feel like I would be able to look at it from that perspective.
What if you felt that it was illogical for him to cut you? What if you're like, look,
I mean, then that's my
Yeah, but
mistake. Then I should have played
again,
better.
look, it's all
Yeah.
That's
totally
true. That is
circumstantial.
true.
That's why, like, it's really hard to put yourself in the position of would I have voted for A or B in the final, because you're not there.
Right.
Yeah, and you haven't had that experience and those emotions and everything else. I mean, you can say all you want, like
Sure.
you're saying. It's
Right.
a very good point, but I mean, just for kicks, you know.
Just for funsies.
Okay, so Morgan and Alex, I know a lot of people. I have so many questions for you. I know a lot of people want to know about your dynamic, and I know that both of you have said that you weren't close.
No.
You weren't close before you went on BBOTT. So at what point in the game did that change?
I think. Okay.
Has it still
I think
not changed? Maybe?
I think the first week we didn't talk that much because we were so worried that people were gonna catch on.
I slept in the same bed with you the first night.
Right, but, like, we weren't
Okay.
like chit chatting, and I was annoyed we had to share a bed. I was like, ah. But I think the first week we didn't talk that much. I think once we realized where people lied. in
Once
the
we
house-
realized we hated the other
Right,
side of
that's
the
what I
house,
was trying to say in the
it
most
brought us
polite way.
together.
That's what I was going to ask too. Because when did you know that there was a divide in the house? Like, when did you
pretty early,
immediately?
week 2.
The beginning of week 2.
Yeah. So I think at that point we realized, all right, we're gonna have to work together. This is us. We don't like the other side. These people are rather insufferable. That really brought us together because when you're dealing with kind of the people and the fights and everything that we did with 2 sides of the house, I mean, it brings you together.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't like the season of Big Brother where everyone kind of intermingled and it was like a big family. It was 2 sides against each other and you didn't talk to the other side. So it was literally us together 24/7 every single
So
day.
that's what changed.
So,
But you guys didn't know that you were going to be in the house together. You've told me
No.
that before.
No.
So okay, I have a 2-part question for you.
Sure.
What was your strategy going into the house, and then how did it change when you saw that Morgan was in there?
Okay, yeah. Well, going into the house, we knew we were at finals, but I had been told she was going to be my alternate, or I was going to be her
Yeah, so
alternate.
they had said, let the best sister win, basically.
So going into the house, I kind of planned on,
Tricky.
not overplaying, which I ended up overplaying, of course. Surprise. Just kind of aligning with the quirky people and kind of floating under the radar. But obviously, what you plan on happening never happens when you enter the Big Brother house. So
Clearly, we ended up together. I said from the get-go, I would never work with all girls. I was going to align with every, athletic dude in the house and get them to do what I wanted. And lo and behold, we didn't work with a single guy, and it was all girls, and we were called the Ball Smashers.
So did you ever feel like your cover was going to be blown? Like, did you have any close calls?
Oh, this guy, I get heated thinking about this. Day
Struck
one,
a nerve, you guys.
we just move in. We're like, all right, no one can figure out we're sisters. We're unpacking, and Alex said something like, oh, Mo, where's your shirt or something? And my face froze because Shelby goes, oh my gosh, you guys already have nicknames for each other. And I was like, oh my God. She's like, we just blew it. She called me a nickname. We've known each other for 5 minutes.
What did you say? How did you cover?
I was like, oh my God, Shelbs, I'm going to give you a nickname too. So I quickly gave Shelby a nickname on the spot and played it off.
I thought we were done.
Oh no, but after that moment, I was so paranoid. I would make Morgan just lather on makeup every day. I'd be like, go put your fake eyelashes on, tease your hair.
She's like, you have to tease your hair. You have to wear hot pink. I was like, why do you get to wear sweatpants and a baseball
I'm over
cap?
here no makeup, sweatpants, chilling,
why don't I have
comfy.
to dress up every day?
That was a smart move. I'll tell you that. That was very smart.
Worked,
I was so upset. I was like, I'm tired of not getting to wear glasses. Why do you get to wear the glasses?
What do you guys' parents think of all this? What were they?
They were very nervous going into it. I'm sure when they saw we were both on the same
They were like,
season,
what?
they were mortified.
I think my dad was
Did
like,
they give you
what
advice?
did I raise? What? Who has 2 daughters that are on a reality TV show together?
I'm pretty sure my mom thought Morgan was going to be evicted first, and she won. So.
Hey, Mom, look at me now.
But what did they give you an advice? Did they say anything?
My mom said, keep your mouth shut and don't embarrass us.
Don't embarrass us. That was the big thing. Which, as I said
What
before,
does that mean?
Morgan has a big mouth. So.
I like to say things on the top of my head, so I think my mom was like, Morgan, you're going to get in that house and you're going to offend someone and they're going to punch you. And I was like, I kept my cool. I did very well.
Yeah,
and
no,
we came out pretty much unscathed. Compared to the very controversial things that say you heard this season, I think we were very chill and mellow.
Low key.
Which,
well, what was the first thing that you guys talked about outside of the house? What?
I think the first thing that she came up to me and she was like, you don't know what's been going on outside of this house.
I think the first thing I told you, I was like, there's an alliance and they've been wiping their armpits on your pillow.
I think that was the first thing she said.
Oh my God.
She's like, just wait until you find out what they did to all our stuff. I was like, oh, what?
That's disgusting.
Yeah, it was pretty traumatizing.
That's sickening. So what do you guys say now? What do you guys like now that it's over? What's your relationship like?
Best friends who still kind of hate each other.
Right.
So you're
we're best friends
sisters,
and we
is
do
what you
everything
are,
together,
basically.
but we still argue like no
We
other.
were arguing in the car coming up
They've
here.
argued constantly.
I'm so tired of hearing them talk.
35 hours that I've been here.
Well, Peter, I know that you, obviously you played the game and you've been giving a lot of advice to people who may play the game, but what do you think your biggest piece of advice you would give to somebody who's going to play, say, BB20 or whatever? What would be the biggest thing?
The biggest skill, I think, that a Big Brother person has is the ability to adapt. So any successful player should be able to run and gun. And everyone should have some semblance of strategy going in, but you don't have to be overtly familiar with the show to be successful in it. And a lot of people who are very familiar with the show are not successful. So to go in, see who you're matched up with, and then be able to adapt to the situations as they unfold. Mm-hmm. That's, I think, the biggest ultimate skill in what a Big Brother player should have going in.
Yeah, I think that's huge.
Mm-hmm.
But did you guys have any follow-up? Anything with...
I think for me, the one thing I wish I had done, just learning from my past mistakes, is I wish I had set aside the time to actually have a conversation with everyone every day. Spend 30, 40 minutes just talking to everybody per day and just build that social game. Mm-hmm. So. Yeah.
Is that yours too?
Yeah, that's what I like. That was what I tried the hardest to do in the game, which I feel like I succeeded in building a relationship with most everyone in that house.
Right. I mean, in a season of 0 social game, you had the strongest social game.
So. No, I would say my big piece of advice is take it slow.
Are you
No.
looking at me?
Not saying you didn't. No, you went
Don't
too
go
fast.
balls to the wall like immediately.
Yeah,
like-
take a couple of days to just assess. Don't jump in there. You don't have to make a big game move immediately. Because I think a lot of times people who do that are kind of the first to go. Not saying you went first. But yeah, take it slow, assess, and don't jump into an alliance just because you feel like you need to. So that would be my piece of advice.
I think that's really good advice. I don't have any to give, so but I think that's really good advice. So we do this little segment called Julie's Corner. It's kind of what Julia said throughout on the press tour or whatever.
Press tour.
Which she says in the media and stuff. So she spoke to Entertainment Tonight last night and revealed that what she's most excited about for the new Celebrity Big Brother. So let's see if I think we have that. Let's see what she says.
Oh, Jay-Chan.
You saw her last night, didn't you?
I did.
Rooting
We were
for them.
matching.
I think they have a chance.
I love
that's
that. All right. Celebrity Big Brother is coming. What are you most looking forward to about this kind of different shortened game with famous people?
You know, we think we know famous people because of the roles that they play on the big screen or the small screen. What I'm looking forward to is seeing what happens, behind the magic, behind the hair and makeup, behind the curtain. So I'm looking forward to getting to know, even if it's a celebrity that, isn't really on my radar. I just want to see the human side of, celebrities.
Have you thought about more names you want to see in there?
I did. Who did I think of the other day?
day.
Oh, first I was thinking Pam Anderson, and then I thought, or Tommy Lee. And then when I thought of Tommy Lee, I was like, Axl Rose, and I started going down the whole, glam rock metal
So you
band.
see what she,
And then,
I mean,
did I
she-
see an ad tonight that Aisha's going to pop back on the talk soon?
That's a talk. No, so I wanted to know what you guys think. Like, what are you guys most excited about to see in Celebrity Big Brother? Do you think there's, whether it be a twist that you wanted to see, or is there, a celebrity that you'd like to see?
I think it'll be interesting. Will they bring back somebody from Big Brother? Like, I think everyone's
Frankie
talked about
Grande.
Frankie Grande. Will they bring him back since he's, quote unquote, a celebrity now? Which I would not like to see him back. I think a lot of people would agree with me. But I think that'll be interesting to see what they do with that.
How they incorporate the Big Brother show into
Right,
Celebrity Big
into-
Brother.
yeah.
Well, Frankie has played Celebrity Big Brother before. He
Right.
has experience with it. He played in
Did
the
he
UK.
play in the UK? Okay.
And the average length of the Big Brother UK Celebrity show is about 24 days. And so I would expect...
Oh.
Yeah, it's much shorter. I would expect that the American Celebrity Big Brother will probably lie somewhere in between 3 and 4 weeks. The most interesting thing that I think to look forward to is that structurally, the celebrity game in the UK is different, as is the Big Brother game in the UK. And so on their finale night, they have upwards of 5 or 6 people left, and it's just a fan vote, and then it's just successive with from 6th to 1st. Our game is completely different because it involves all these structural power competitions, POV, HOH, etc. And so now with a very abridged game, I don't know how many people they're going to put in there because they're going to have to be doing these rapid fire evictions.
Mm-hmm.
And so that really changes the game when it's more, Survivor does an eviction every, 2-3 days. This might be what happens in, we might be getting an eviction every other episode, which kind of really will, it's really Big Brother in fast forward, which I think is going to be very interesting to watch just because you have to get it down to kind of the final 3, unless they change the format. Maybe they just do the celebrity version. I think Frankie would actually kind of be interesting to see in that environment, simply because he has experience. And now, as it was proven by Entertainment Weekly, rather, that, returning players statistically have a huge advantage over any newbie. And will almost, with the exception of one season, Jesse in Big Brother 11, they get to the final day. And so Frankie coming in as someone with experience, he made the final in Celebrity Big Brother as well. He was like 5th, I think.
Wow.
So that would be very fascinating. The person that I most want to see on it is Rylan, who is the host of Big Brother Bit on the Side in the UK. Someone who loves the game. I met him last year when I was in London. He won Celebrity Big Brother in 2013. He's very passionate about both versions of the game. Really wants to play the North American format, and I would love to see him come over here and get an opportunity
Very cool.
to have showcase over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know for me, who do I want to see on the show? I know they don't really qualify as celebrities, but
No,
I would
Lord.
love to see someone from Survivor try their hand at Big Brother.
Yeah, that
The
was
Survivor
interesting.
No, we've only had Big Brother people go to Survivor, so I'd love to see the reverse effect and have someone who's
Like
really good.
Jeff and Jackie. was, but they were
yeah.
amazing
So We'll see. I'm kind of expecting more of the lower tier celebrities,
agree.
like Jersey Shore.
Yeah, like
or Real
Snooki. I bet Snooki
Housewife,
will be in
which would
there.
be entertaining, but Survivor has my pick. Someone from
What about
Survivor.
you?
Not Frankie. Just I don't know. Why was I about to say Justin Bieber? I don't know. Don't judge me on that answer. Give me some time.
Okay, well.
Okay, no, pass.
No, we can come back to you. I just think it'll be interesting to see what, like, if there is a twist or whatever, because all these people could potentially know something about the other. I mean, whether maybe they do or don't, I don't know. But like, if you're caught up on celebrity culture, most likely you know some sort of. So I think that would be interesting for somebody I want to play. I mean, they would never get, but somebody who's like really smart, who went to like an Ivy League school, that was like, just to see how that would like Tina Fey or somebody. Not that she would ever do it, but it would be somebody who just has a really like crazy mind that could, you know, kind of see 10 steps ahead.
I want to see Martha Stewart in
What
it.
about Lance Bass? Isn't he a huge?
Yeah, he's a huge big.
We're
brother.
one of AJ from the Backstreet Boys.
NSYNC and a Backstreet.
Well, somebody
in
said-
the house. Make it happen.
Julie said, and maybe one or two people from NSYNC have like tried to come on the show.
Nice.
What up, Lance Bass?
Okay, so moving forward from BB19, now let's talk about season 20. So it's kind of the same question, but do you see a twist? Like, do you think like
Do we think it's All Stars?
That's what I was gonna say.
That's the biggest rumor.
Is it All Stars?
I have a theory. I'm probably not right, but I can tell you my theory. And that way, if it is right, I'll take ownership of it and say I called it first. Okay, you know the Revengers trailer, right? It was like, what, 8 people or something? What if they did something where they brought back the Revengers next year and it was like half vets versus half newbies? That's why it's kind of All-Stars, but not All-Stars. Kind of like BB Can 5 style.
It would be exactly BB Can 5 style.
I would really vote against that, because I would rather have it either be all vets or all newbies, because I'm so sick of the vet thing. It just it's played out so much now. We've had it for 2 years, and I think that, like you said, again, it's like the vet has an advantage no matter what.
Well, and with social
It'd be cool
media
to see a
now,
bunch of
it's like
different vets,
everyone
though.
would just want to team up with the vets. I feel like everyone's like, oh, like, you know, like
Yeah,
Paul
'cause-
has a following. I want to get with Paul, so nah.
Yeah, look, people have really wanted another All-Star. All-Stars is my favorite season. People have really wanted an All-Star season for a number of years. CBS seems to keep shooting themselves in the foot by bringing back these small incremental people, either 1 or 6 or anywhere in between for the past number of years, kind of like disallowing those people for them potentially going forward in full All-Stars, or at least theoretically. I would love to see a full All-Stars cast. I think the mixed cast, and we know how they're going to play out, because they always play out exactly the same. The veteran will make the final regardless. And so doing a full All-Star, it's not like they can't populate it. Look, there's a lot of really dynamic, really interesting, really great players that came over the last 20 seasons, including Over the Top, that could come into an All-Stars 2 season and have a really exciting game. The other kind of like side thing that I would like to see, which will absolutely never happen, is take a bunch of random house guests that kind of finished in the, say, 12th to 8th spot. Those kind of like forgettable middle people who don't think they're ever going to get an opportunity to play again, and are out there every night probably thinking, oh, if only I could get back in, if only I had that one other chance. These people that the fandom has kind of forgotten about a little bit, that you kind of because some people are really pretty good at the game, and they just have one break not go their way and they get voted out. And to see those kind of people that would have so much ambition and energy, and they would want to they would know that it's their last chance, and that they would be so aggressive and so dynamic within the game. I think that would ultimately be the most compelling season. They're never going to do that, so please just give us All Stars 2.
Yeah. What do you think, Alex?
I mean, I agree with Peter. I would love to have an All-Star season. I don't think it'll ever happen. I think Allison Grodner has said multiple times that it's
won't.
never happening. So
But
I
you
think,
would get the best
I agree.
gameplay. Like, it's
You
so
would,
counterintuitive.
But it doesn't matter.
Everyone's going to want that stipend. I don't think they're going to be able to afford to get, unless what you said, if it was like, the lower tiers, it wasn't like your superstar,
I think that they could get people to do it and not have to give them as much money as we're anticipating.
Look at the cast that All Stars was at the time. Like, that was about as great as you could get for a cast. Like, maybe one here, one there. But man, that was a huge cast for the time. They all still came back. In my opinion, if you love the game then you should go back for free.
Yes.
I'd go back for free. I feel like we'd all feel the same way.
Okay, and
You guys
so
can
like
always say that.
if you
We'll
truly
say that now.
truly appreciate it for what
Say
it
it
is,
now.
then you want to come back in. And so if you're demanding a bunch of money,
Right.
then go to the next person. It's not like, there's like 500 house guests.
Yeah.
They can find 16.
I have an idea for BB20. Bring back some people from OTT. They're not going to recognize us. I think we've speculated this. We're like, would they? No one's watched the webisode season, so they wouldn't realize that we played before. It would be really interesting.
What if people at Target go? What if people at
if they
Target?
cast anybody who recognizes me from Trader Joe's,
Nah.
that has
A lot of
happened.
people at Target like you.
But it would be interesting, and I'm curious to see if people on our season could play Big Brother.
It would be
'cause
like a
it's
twist.
such-
Keep it
yeah.
secret and see people
Keep it
figure out
secret.
you've been in the house
Right,
before.
exactly. So like a secret vet twist, but we were on a different season. I don't know. Just a thought in case
good thought.
Allison is watching this.
Or
She's not.
Canada versus USA.
That
that's
would be good. That would be a good one.
Well, you guys, that's all. That's the whole show. We did it. You can't
We
believe it.
did it. It's been such a fun season with
Thank
you
you,
guys.
Alex Willett
Yes.
and
Thanks
Peter
having
Brown
me.
for coming.
You guys killed it.
Yeah, it was great. Well, that's a wrap on Big Brother season 19. Thank you guys for joining us, and thank you guys for tuning in and supporting us and sending us your questions and everything else. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we will see you back here on AfterBuzz TV this winter for Celebrity Big Brother.
Maybe our predictions are right. Maybe
Maybe.
they're very wrong. But thank you guys for watching. Thank you for being so supportive. We've had so much fun chatting with you guys. And
look for Morgan's interviews from
Yes.
Backyard. That they're
at
coming.
some point, it'll be tonight, tomorrow, next week. They'll be up. I have the footage. It's just a long process.
All right, you guys. Well, I'm Bryce McLeay. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Bryce Advice.
And I am Morgan Willett. You can find me at Twitter at Morgan_Willett.
And I'm Alex, and you can find me at Twitter at AlexShay1.
I'm Peter, and you can find me all over social media at also Peter Brown.
Thank you guys. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz
See you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.